Good morning, it's Matt here. So in this video we're going to look at the heating in an electric van, and in this case we've got a Renault Kangoo here with a 33 kilowatt hour battery, and this doesn't have air conditioning, so it's got the traditional old resistive heater. As you can see, this van is still frozen. It was -9 this morning, but the sun is out. It is starting to defrost the windscreen, but we'll switch on the heater and see how quick these defrost. It is now about -1 or 0 outside, but as I said, the sun is out and it is starting to warm up, and as you can see, that window over there has defrosted in the sun. So with a combustion engine vehicle, a petrol or diesel, you've basically got a fire in the engine, and the byproduct of that is heat. So those produce an awful lot of heat. However, with a modern combustion engine, they do take a long time before that heat is transmitted through to the cabin heater. So you can often find you can drive 4 or 5 miles or more before you start getting any heat to the cabin. But with an electric vehicle, you've obviously got no combustion in the under the bonnet because you've got no engine, so you have to produce heat. And that's where electric vehicles get a bit of a bad name, because they do have to produce their own heat, and therefore you have an electric heater, which the electricity has obviously got to come from your high voltage traction battery, and that's why electric vehicles will do less range in the winter, just because you're using up energy to make that heat. The advantage, however, which is something that often gets forgotten about, is that you get heat much quicker. So that's what we're going to test in this video. So if I just switch this van on, we've got the heater round to hot, we've got it on the windscreen, and I will then turn the fan on to maximum. It is rather noisy in here now, but anyway, the thermometer has actually dropped a little bit. It is, well, it was just showing -2 a second ago, so it is a bit colder in here than outside. And I've set the stopwatch as well, so we can see how quick that is before we get any heat there up on the windscreen, and before the to see when the ice starts melting. So we're 1 minute and 25 seconds in. We are getting some warmth out of the heater there, but actually it's not as warm as it would normally be. I think the issue is, obviously the van is much colder under the bonnet and underneath than the thermometer would suggest, because it was -9 about an hour and a half ago here. So during the night we were probably down to -12, -14, something like that. So the gubbins inside the vehicle, where it's shielded from the sun, is still going to be at those sort of temperatures. So it is a little bit slower this morning than what I would expect, but we are now getting some warmth out of the heater. So we're now 3 minutes in, and all along there, I'm not sure whether you can see that on the camera, but the ice has melted and we're now getting some daylight through. So yeah, it's not as quick as I was expecting. I was expecting it to have been completely melted by now, but obviously this is a cold morning. Well, it was a very cold night, and the heater clearly is struggling a little bit more than it normally would, but that's hot air coming out of here now, and that should now start melting that ice pretty quick, as you can see. So we're 4 minutes in. The temperature has risen to certainly 3 degrees. I haven't got my glasses on that. Yeah, that's probably 4 degrees now, and yeah, the windscreen is melting. Okay, if I swipe the wipers now, that will probably clear, but I'm just going to hold off just for another 30 seconds, just so I don't damage the wiper blades. But these vans do have a preconditioning function. There's a little timer there on the dash, and what you do is you leave that temperature dial right round to the hottest, and then on the dash here, using the buttons on the end of the stalk, you can go round to comfort program, and it's currently set at 8 AM. You can change that time, and then what that will do is, at that time, it will switch the vehicle on while it's still connected to your wall charger, heat up the cabin, melt all the ice off the windscreen, and get the vehicle ready for your drive. and then when you disconnect you've still got 100% battery, 100% range, and your cabin is already warm. So maybe you can do your commute without the heating on at all and preserve the range, or you could certainly have it much lower, and therefore that maximizes your winter range. And if I just use the buttons there, let's just look at what the outside temperature is. It's still saying -1 degrees outside. Ignore the predicted range on this because this van has been sat for a long time and that screws the algorithm. So it did say 77 miles range there. It will do a lot more than that with a 75% state of charge battery. It's just because this has been sat for weeks and weeks now. So we're now at 6 minutes 30 seconds and the windscreen is completely clear, and if I just swipe on the wipers we will see that yeah, there is no ice there on the outside at all, apart from a bit of condensation on the inside. Yeah, it's quite wet on the inside, but as I said, this vehicle has been sat for some weeks, so you'd expect that. Anyway, it didn't perform quite as well as I was hoping. Usually these vehicles will clear the ice and melt the ice off the windscreen within about 2 minutes, but anyway, it was for the UK, it was a particularly cold night last night. Let's just turn that fan down. So anyway, that will do for this video. If you found it useful, please do click the thumbs up button on YouTube. That really does help. Do subscribe if you haven't. There's plenty of electric van videos on the channel already, so use the search function to look up any other content that you might be interested in, and I'll see you on the next video. The videos I make on this channel are primarily to help others and share knowledge. If you found a video helpful, please show your appreciation by at least clicking the thumbs up button, and leaving a comment also helps too, as does subscribing to the channel. All of this is free of charge. I do not use paid memberships or Patreon, which is how most YouTubers earn their money. I only earn from the YouTube ad commissions. But under every video on this channel is a super thanks button. So if you found a video particularly useful, or maybe it saved you money or time, then please consider a donation using the super thanks button. You could buy me a coffee, a pint, or contribute to the running cost of this channel. There's over 1100 videos on this channel now, so please have a browse, use the search, and have a look at the playlists.